It's Stephen, your friendly neighborhood anesthesiologist and clinical medical ethicist. I am the host of the Black Doctors podcast. I started this new feature, Office Hours, where I'm going to give applicable information to different people at different parts of their life that are either applying to medical school or in the process. Maybe they're pre-meds, residents. I can share some of the things that I've learned along the way and hopefully help other people along the path. This kind of works together with the podcast itself. The podcast focusing on people who are graduate students or mostly attendings. So you can hear their life stories and what they dealt with along the way. And those episodes come out every Monday. And then I'll try during the week to post in office hours and answer some of the questions that I get. I get a lot of messages and emails from different medical students and pre-med students, even some high school students, asking about medical school and anesthesiology and all sorts of things. So I'll try to kind of bottle those up and present them here in different episodes. This week on Office Hours, I'm speaking specifically to pre-med students or students in college, pre-health profession students. You're in your 4 years of university and you're thinking about applying to medical school, pharmacy school, veterinarian school, whatever professional school you're looking into. So I'm going to give a couple of pieces of advice, 5 kind of actionable items that you can use to help as you pursue professional school. Number 1, when you're in college, when you're starting out, pick your major carefully. This is kind of obvious, goes without saying, but some people go into college knowing that they want to become a doctor or whatever the case is, and they're able to pick a major, usually pre-med or biology or chemistry. Those are kind of your typical majors for people going into the health sciences. It's important to note, especially these days, applications committees are looking at more well-rounded applicants, and other majors are becoming more and more common. Things like humanities or history or creative writing or music. We really, as healthcare professionals, want to lean more towards the humanitarian aspect and foster that sense in our applicants, with the goal being that we're able to relate to our patients better on the other end once we're out of training. So don't get pigeonholed into being a pre-med major or biology. If it's not something you're truly passionate about, look into other fields or areas. I initially started college as a music major. I did that for a year before I decided to go into medical school or decided to apply and try to get into medical school. And I changed my major at that point to a pre-physical therapy major. So I did that because I had all the prerequisites to apply to medical school once I was done. But I also had a plan B with going to physical therapy school if medical school wasn't right for me or if I didn't get in after applying. I'm a big proponent of having plan Bs. Some people don't, and that's kind of a personal thing. Some people, it's med school or bust. I needed a job first and foremost. And I felt like I would have been happy doing physical therapy. So I had that pre-physical therapy degree, got the prereqs. If you do a major that you're interested in, that you enjoy, you got to extract maximum value out of life and enjoyment. So study something that you really like and something you're really into, and then get those necessary prerequisites for medical school. Next thing, tip number 2 is to plan ahead. So as you're looking at those prereqs, go ahead and plan, which schools require different prereqs. Most of them are standard across the board. There's a couple schools that will require biochemistry, for example, and other schools may not require that. So some schools have different requirements. Just look into that to make sure you have all the prerequisites to apply to specific programs. Along with that planning, you're going to look at the timelines for taking the medical college admissions test, the MCAT. You need to ideally finish a couple of specific prerequisite courses so you can do well on the MCAT. And then you need to take that with enough time to launch into the applications process, because that takes a while. There are specific milestones that you have to hit and timelines that you have to work by. So sit down. If you're in your first year or second year, definitely by your second year, you need to kind of sit down with an advisor. Most schools have pre-med advisors, and work out this timeline for when you will be ready to take the MCAT, when you can take the MCAT, and when you can start applying for medical school. You have to coordinate getting letters of recommendations and all other stuff like that. Third, I would say look for a community. The road to health profession school is rough. You're studying a lot harder than your classmates in other majors. So you need a community that can support you. You guys can work together. Being in that group, they'll help alert you for different deadlines and different bumps in the road and things you need to take care of. You can kind of look to your left and right and see people working together to meet that common goal. Along the same lines, when you're looking at these or looking for that community, look into groups like the MAPS program that's through the Student National Medical Association. It's the Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students. It's for Black and brown medical students and pre-medical students. And it gives you that sense of community. It gives you a group that can help you connect to medical students and mentors. Every year, there's also the annual medical education conference that's put on by the Student National Medical Association. It's kind of the largest group of Black or minority medical students in the country. And every year they have a conference, and you can go there. They have a med school fair as well, where you can go meet face-to-face with program directors and medical school admissions committee members and get advice straight from the source. So I highly recommend finding a sense of community, looking into the MAPS program if there's one at your school or a local chapter that you can go to. Number 4 is looking into extracurricular activities. This kind of rolls into tip number 5, which is just maintaining good time management skills. This is kind of interwoven throughout college and graduate school. You have to develop these time management skills, and whether that's combined with your love of music, sports, leadership opportunities, research, shadowing, you need to work to make yourself a well-rounded applicant. Don't do things just so you're a better applicant. Do things because you enjoy them, that they'll be beneficial. Maybe you're shadowing, you're deciding you think you might want to be an emergency medicine physician one day, so you want to shadow in the emergency department. Maybe you want to work as a scribe where you can get experience. Maybe you want to work with a physical therapist and just be a helper so you can see what a physical therapist does. Maybe you want to work with the local veterinarian and see what they do on a day-to-day basis. All that will give you experience. It'll help you look at this new field that you are pretty sure that you want to go into, and it'll be something you can put on your personal statement as you go to apply. As you balance your academics along with your extracurricular activities, sports, leadership opportunities, all that, it really goes into making you a well-rounded applicant, as well as teaching you those essential time management skills that you will continue to use through college, through medical school, through residency, and even now I use them as an attending. So those are the 5 things that I would recommend for college students interested in pre-health professions, graduate school. Pick your major carefully, plan again to make sure your timelines are adding up and looking right. Find that sense of community with the MAPS organization or your local pre-health professions group. Make sure you iron out those extracurricular activities. You don't need 20, 2 or 3 will do that you're really good and really passionate about and really interested in, and then just really work to develop those time management skills. So hopefully those tips can help. I tried to provide some actionable information for you. As always, my DMs are open. My website, Stephen Bradley MD. I have some sections. I've kind of built that website myself, so that's why it looks the way it does. But you can go there. You can click on one of the links, and it'll give you a questionnaire that you can send directly to me. If you have anything specific, I can answer those questions. Otherwise, please, do everything: the likes, the shares, the subscribes. Please send this to somebody that you know in college who could benefit. Maybe they're a little lost and could use some advice on how to proceed and how to navigate college with the goal of going to medical school or dental school or some professional school. Stephen, your friendly neighborhood anesthesiologist and clinical medical ethicist, host of the Black Doctors Podcast. Tune in Monday for another episode of the show. Thanks for everything you're doing to support the show, and we'll talk with you later, hopefully next week.